Dun 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 dun. I lost it. We can fade at that point,
Fade out.
right?
We'll fade out. Yeah.
Welcome back. I'm Josiah Matsumoto.
And I'm Carl Matsumoto.
And this is Moto Sport.
What a great intro.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
we're killing it. We're awesome.
All right. Well, here we are. We binge watched Drive to Survive.
Yep, 2 days.
And
Boom.
This is our review episode, but we've got a few things that we want to talk about first.
Yes, first of all, we want to apologize for Jared's lack of a microphone last time. I know you want to hear from him. Jared, say hello.
Hello.
We hope you heard that.
Yeah. We got a mic.
Kind of.
Not
It's
the best.
bad. Yeah. The sounds really bad on my voice. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
We're talking too much.
But at least you can hear him.
At least you
Yeah.
can hear him.
So no more complaints. okay?
Please.
Just kidding.
Everybody was flooding the message.
Honestly,
So
yeah,
bad.
people
I
were
know.
pretty offended that we didn't mic you properly. So we're working on it. It will get better, but at least you can hear him now.
Exactly.
Glad to be here.
We're glad to have you, truthfully. Couldn't do it without you.
The other thing we wanted to talk about was we in our recap app of 2022 season, we claimed to be Midwestern
Yeah,
fans, but we didn't actually say like where we're from or talk about
us.
at all.
And we're
So
awesome.
we wanted to take a second to reintroduce ourselves, talk about who we are, where we're from. We talked a little bit about how we got into the sport, but not
Yeah.
actually like.
We'll get into it more.
hmm So we're based in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Woohoo! There's about like 2.5 feet of snow outside.
I think there's more.
All right, well, it's a lot.
The total this year has been a lot.
hmm
It's significant. It's not the most snow I've ever seen, but
It's a lot.
it's a lot. It's a lot. It's the most I've seen in a long time.
hmm
So we're really holding on to Formula One over the winters and missing it
hmm
because this break has been too long. I'm ready for next week.
Ready.
Next week is the first
I
race.
know.
It's so exciting. Oh, wild.
All right, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
No.
We're
Did we
introducing
want to talk
ourselves.
more about us?
Yeah, let's just do a quick
Cool.
little thing.
Carl, tell us about you.
Oh, I'm going first.
Yeah, you're first.
I hate that question.
Okay.
I'll answer it, but my mind pretty much just goes blank whenever people ask me a
Right? Like,
question
where do you
like
start?
that. I'm like, I
Like,
don't know who I am. and
Lay
what
out
I
your
like.
whole life for me real quick. I don't know
Mm.
how to do that.
No, I'm Midwestern, born and raised. I am from Wilmette, also known as Thrillmette, Illinois. It's a suburb outside
Illinois.
of Chicago. I know people get mad when you say you're from Chicago and you're actually from the suburbs. So there you go. I'm from the suburbs, not the city proper. So don't get mad at me.
Yeah,
But
no lies here.
moved to Minneapolis like almost 10 years ago. I think.
What year was
It's been
it?
a long time. Oh yeah, 10 years ago, 2013.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Impressive.
Been here for 10.
That's the year I graduated high school.
Whoa.
That's the year I graduated college.
Nice.
Oh my
What an age gap.
wow.
4 years exactly.
Uh.
That's amazing. Yeah, how do you like Minneapolis this decade?
I mean, it's been great. I have enjoyed living here. There's so much good food, good music. Yes, Josiah,
Good
I met
love?
you when
Okay.
I moved here. So there's that.
bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you moved here. That's for sure.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
I don't think we would have met if you didn't move here.
Yeah, chances it was unlikely that we would have met.
Very unlikely.
But yeah, that's it. That's me.
Yeah.
Anything else you want me to talk about?
I don't even know. Do you have any questions for Carl? It's impossible for me to think of, like, I know you so well, obviously.
I was gonna ask if you were both gonna get into your love story, how you met, what year was that?
Oh,
Like
man.
2013, you got here. When did you meet?
We met 3 years later. We met in
Oh,
2016.
2016.
Yeah.
2016.
Nice.
End of 2016. Yeah, we were working for the same organization. I was a guest artist.
Oh yeah, 'cause Josiah is in.
I'm in the arts. Yeah.
I am not in the arts, just so everyone is aware.
Well.
Well, now I'm dabbling, but
I'm
It's
roping you
not
into
in
the
my-
arts.
it's not in my nature.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, you're of the numbers of the organizing and the just
yes, my
the
hobbies
brain
are like
things.
very mundane tasks, like writing lists in my bullet journal.
Yeah.
That's like my number one hobby.
That's one of the things I love most about you, I think, because
I'm glad.
I need that so much.
I'm
'cause
glad
I
that my
don't
love
do
of
that.
repetitive, mundane.
Yeah. So I can do all the fun, exciting things, and you can do all the mundane things and think that they're fun.
Great.
I'm just selfish. That's why I like it. Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Bullet Journal.
Bullet journaling.
I'm also a bullet
Yeah.
journaler.
Jared,
Love it.
avid bullet
Got it
journal.
right
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, I got mine.
For those watching on video, which I think will be mostly nobody.
Yeah,
Oh,
nobody,
yeah.
but
we
we'll
might not
still
launch this video.
we'll still
Yeah.
show you our bullet journals.
Well, now we have to show that clip. So, anything else?
Talk
Yeah.
about you now.
Oh, my turn. Yeah. So I, as well as Jared, we were born in Kansas, the
Oh yeah,
state.
Jared and Josiah are brothers.
Oh, we are brothers.
I don't-
Brothers.
I don't-
We are sibs, for real, for life,
For real.
for real, for life,
They're
real.
for
real
real, and
siblings.
we are for real sibs for life.
Nothing will ever change that.
Yes, nothing. And we were born in Kansas. I mean, we moved to Minneapolis when I was 5, I think, and you were 3.
I was 3,
Yeah. So we've been here a long time, since 98, I
Mm,
think.
getting
Around
those
around
dates.
1998, yeah. And I've been here ever since. I mean, I went to college in Duluth, but I've always been in Minnesota. I love Minneapolis. And here we are. Yeah, my background is in the arts. I run a theater company called What's Next.
Josiah's an amazing cook.
I do love to cook. I love cooking. And, check out our videos called Tasty Tuesday. Go to our Instagram at Carl and Josiah and subscribe to my Patreon if you want some good recipes
Mm-hmm.
that I created.
Yeah, original recipes.
Yeah, I love to cook. Cooking has always been a passion of mine, big passion of mine.
And I love to eat what you cook.
I also love to eat what I cook. Sorry. I like to cook for you, and I also appreciate that you're getting more into baking.
It's true.
So then we have dessert
It's true.
sometimes. It's great.
Wow, look at us.
I know.
Eating food and dessert.
And dessert. It's amazing. Fully balanced life. Jared, can we intro you a little bit? Jared,
a little. Not much.
Not much.
Not.
Jared wants to be.
I'm not part of Moda Sports. I'm the featured producer.
yeah, but you're
Motorsports
part of this.
Featuring Jared.
Totally. A feature can be a lead role,
A
even.
feature can be a lead role.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. Anyways, big ups to Jared because he has the best coffee shop in the Twin Cities. Actually, in
Mhm.
the state. Potentially the world.
Potentially.
You know, it's impossible to say definitively because we haven't tried every coffee shop in the world. But if it's my choice, if I'm voting, Wesley Andrews in Minneapolis is the best coffee in the world.
I second that. So.
Therefore, it's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Plug for Wesley Andrews.
Not sponsored by Wesley
Not
Andrews.
Not
Sponsored.
sponsored.
Soon to be
Yet.
sponsored by Wesley Andrews, Tasty Tuesday.
Yeah.
What's next?
Bullet journals.
Bullet journals. We're all sponsoring each other without actually paying for that
Anyone.
sponsorship.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
But
But
we'd
yeah.
like to support the people we love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
check out all that stuff.
Please do. Is that enough for
That's
us?
enough.
All right. Cool.
Enough
It's
of
hard to
us.
talk
Let's-
about ourselves
We're over it. We're
without
done.
like the right prompts, you know? Like I don't know.
Yeah, we're like about 10 minutes in.
It's time to move on.
Let's
Do
move
we
on.
wanna talk
That's
about
enough time.
Formula One?
Let's
I
talk
think
about
maybe
Formula
we
One.
should talk about Formula One.
Okay,
That's
should
why
we
you're on
talk
here.
a little bit more about how we got into it? Like
No, because
details?
we did already
We
talk
did.
about
We
that.
got into it because of Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Great segue.
Great segue, because now
Drive to Survive. All right, so Drive to Survive came out this weekend, on Friday, right?
indeed.
Yeah, Friday the
That is
24th.
correct.
We're recording this on Sunday. We already watched the whole thing, all 10 episodes, because that's how we do.
We sure did.
So we got into Drive to Survive in 2021, right?
I believe that's correct.
So yeah, and we binge watched like the first 3 seasons and then started watching the actual races mid-season.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we convinced Jared to get into Formula One
Mhm.
and a lot of our friends.
Exactly.
All of the people who listen to this podcast are only because only watch Formula One because of us.
Well, it's
We're-
not entirely
we're hoping
true.
to
There are
expand
people.
that,
We
yeah.
have friends who have started on their own, and we just discovered. I
Oh,
feel
that's
like
true.
I
Yeah,
feel
that's
like
true.
finding out that your friends
Yeah.
are into Formula One is like something that has been happening
It's
more
true.
and more. Of like
It's like, yeah,
this hidden secret that you
Mhm.
like car
I do-
racing.
I feel like some people were like sort of into it peripherally and like didn't watch every race, and then we were like, "Oh, have you heard of Formula One?" Everyone's like, "Yeah, that's like been around since 1950." And we're like, "No, you got to get into Formula One." And then they did.
So here
You're-
we are.
So here we are. Yeah. So, talking about Drive to Survive. Should we get into it?
Yeah, let's start off with our
Initial thoughts, overall takes on this season of Drive to Survive, which was talking about the 2022 season of Formula One.
Indeed.
Yeah, which we've already recapped.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, we recapped it, and then we watched Netflix's dramatized version of
Yes.
2022, and now we're talking about Netflix's dramatized version of 2022.
And we're going to add a little
Correct.
drama on top of that drama.
So it's
So drama on drama on drama.
What were your initial thoughts?
I'll say even
Long
since
pause.
yeah. Think about it. I know okay, first of all, respect to Drive to Survive. They got us into the sport.
Yes,
I
we don't
love the
want to. We don't
drama.
want to. Yeah.
I don't want to make digs at Drive to Survive. I think it holds value no matter what.
It's part of. It's part
it's
of the
part
culture.
it's part of the culture at this point, and a huge part of the culture in America, especially. Most
Yes.
people here are only fans because of that show. So, respect where it's due, credit where it's due. I just am not that interested in the show anymore, though, because after watching the season happen and being so invested and reading all the articles and getting into the drama while it's going on, it feels unnecessary, I guess, to recap it in this particular way. I'll also say that this season of Drive to Survive was less thrilling because the season of Formula One was less thrilling.
From our perspective.
Yeah, well, I think objectively, because the championship, both championships were clinched well before the last race, you know?
Right.
And so that just
There's
makes
still,
it
there's
less
still a lot happening.
interesting. Oh, there's still plenty happening down the field, down the grid and whatnot.
Yeah.
But in terms of the drivers' like in 2021, it went down to the last race for
Mhm.
both the championships, and that was thrilling and
Mhm.
invigorating. And even though Lewis Hamilton ended up losing, and we were all heartbroken, that was a thrilling season to watch. You
No,
know,
it's true.
all the way up until the last race. The last race this last year, I fully forgot about because it didn't do anything.
Yeah. When we were watching
Yeah.
back that last episode, I was like, oh wow,
Yeah.
don't remember this one.
Don't remember this race, even though we watched it and it was the last
Definitely
race
lost
we
it,
watched.
most recent
Yeah.
one.
I think that this kind of plays into one of my main thoughts about it is that the beginning of Drive to Survive, they were focused on the backfield teams because they
Yeah.
literally weren't
Yeah.
interviewing the top teams.
That's true. They didn't even talk
This
about Mercedes.
year, I think, was more interesting in the backfield, and they
Didn't talk-
They
to
didn't
the
talk about
backfield
it as
teams.
much.
They only focused on the
Yeah.
front.
I mean, they did. They dabbled a
Not
little
only
bit.
Well, I mean, yeah.
They talked about Haas because, I mean,
Talk about Alfa Romeo
At
didn't-
all.
they didn't.
They didn't talk about
Valtteri-
Alfa Romeo.
You didn't even
all.
see Valtteri's face until
Not
the
at
final episode.
And you saw Joe crash
Like a billion times?
100,000 times, like
The
just some
biggest
tragedy
flaw.
porn, like
yeah.
I did no take from Alfa Romeo.
None.
That.
on that.
None.
And I was like, you're gonna show Silverstone and that crash in particular every episode,
Right?
and then you're gonna do this weird reveal with Joe,
Yeah.
but
And also, you're not even going to talk about how great Joe did as a driver this season. He was
Right?
one of the most. He was the. Well, it's hard to say definitively, but one of the most consistent, especially rookies on the
yeah, he had
field
a
that we've seen in a
insane
long
rookie-
time.
Yeah,
Had a great rookie season. Very excited to see him drive next season. We love you, Joe Guan Yu, and we love you, Valtteri Bottas.
yeah. You
Like,
guys were not in the show at all.
Why?
We-
That's not fair. Granted, Alfa Romeo had a very boring season.
It was an exciting start, and then it got boring. For
Mhm.
Yeah. They didn't have the consistency. I mean, because they're running the Ferrari engine all year. Ferrari clearly had
Had
some
issues.
some longevity, some consistency issues. Also a big bummer. But, yeah,
Yeah.
so they didn't have a lot to talk about, I guess. They moved
Mhm.
down the grid. They didn't move up the grid.
Mhm.
Well, actually, I don't even know if they moved. I can't remember where they finished in 21, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, didn't talk about them. Didn't really talk about Aston Martin. Didn't talk about
Not that I
Williams at
care.
all. Williams. They didn't talk about Latifi, and I was just really happy to see Latifi go. I hope he does well in his life, but
We
he-
don't wish bad.
I
on
don't wish
you,
ill
but
on Latifi, but
You were not.
he
a
he
good
didn't belong
addition.
in the sport anymore. He wasn't right for it.
Right.
So like,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I don't think his head was in the game anymore. Hopefully Williams does better this year. We'll see, but they've been struggling.
Yeah, my initial thoughts, well, it's pretty much like 90% of the time I was overstimulated. So there's that.
That
More
sounds
so
about
than
right.
Watching a race.
Yeah.
Races are
Yes, because it's, I don't know.
longer. It's easier to take in all that information over a longer period of time.
Well, and like the sound editing on Drive to Survive is so
Oh.
intense, and I was like, this is
Honestly.
a lot. And then it just becomes like the Will Buxton Christian Horner show,
Right.
and you're like, okay.
Okay,
It's a
let's talk
lot.
about this for a second, because
I'll say I'm a fan of one of those two people.
I know you are, and this is why I want to bring it up, because we're not fans of Will Buxton. The Matsumotos are not a fan of his because he just doesn't have a unique take on anything that he's saying, and he's so repetitive, and he's so over-dramatized, and he delivers things as if he's saying the most profound new concept that nobody's ever heard, and he's putting it in a new way that sheds light on something that makes you
like-
think about your life and death and blah blah blah. And I'm like, this doesn't do anything for me, but that's the way he talks.
Jared.
To me, what he does well is recapping. So I agree, he's not saying anything new, but he's putting it all together. He is driving the narrative in Drive to Survive, but also in the live casts in F1. The way that he's able to sum up everything that happened in the weekend,
Yeah.
I think is clean. And
I
All
just
right.
think,
great.
yeah,
The Will Buxton grid walk on F1
the
TV,
grid walk is funny.
that is what I love. That's why I'm a Will Buxton.
Well, the grid
all right,
walk,
all right.
the grid
I'll give it
walk
to you.
is different. That's not even a recap of the weekend. That's just
It's like a recap / what to look for of
in the
every
race, yeah.
Single.
car.
And
Sure.
it's
And it's
very
tight, and
rushed, and it's
yeah,
hilarious.
I
Yeah.
love it.
It always feels like he's way behind and trying to catch up with what he was trying to say, and I enjoy that moment. But I don't feel he's driving the narrative of Drive to Survive. I feel that by the time he's talking on the show, We've already
yeah.
heard that narrative. We've seen it already iterated a couple of different times, and then he just hammers it in. He says the same thing over and over and over. And he's like, oh, yeah, they really got to fight for their spot. Oh, man, they're really fighting for their spot on this team. Oh, this time he's got to fight for his spot on the team. And I'm like, stop.
I mean, that is editing of the show, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me that's the Drive to Survive problem, because he does that, but then they also
Fair,
have
fair.
Other people
say the same thing he said all in a row.
Yeah.
So it
Honestly,
gets really
yeah.
repetitive for
I
sure.
thought
It does.
there were moments where I was like, wait, am I going like crazy? Like, I feel like I've seen this exact thing
Right?
before.
On
and
multiple episodes. Yeah.
When it is. They like replay.
Yeah.
For the first 4 episodes, they showed
The same races.
Silverstone, Azerbaijan, and Miami like
Yeah.
every single episode. And
Yeah.
I was like, did you guys go to other races?
No.
Or
To me, them re-showing Silverstone, I was like, okay, cool. So then we're just eventually going to get to the Alfa Romeo.
to
perspective.
Joe's,
Right?
yeah,
Excited for that.
Same.
They just
never
did it.
got there.
Never did it.
I know. I
Yeah.
thought the same thing of like, that's the point of showing Silverstone so much is because
Yeah.
of this major crash, and if they're gonna focus on it.
Yeah.
And then there was
Nothing.
0.
Nothing. They didn't even talk about like that crash caused a whole investigation into the design of the Halo, and they updated that design to make sure it's safer again.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, like he walked away from that unscratched, which is just insane. I can't believe that still. That crash was so brutal.
Oof.
I remember watching that and then they
It was
wouldn't show the
intense 'cause They
footage
wouldn't show the footage
because they wanted to make sure he was okay.
which is good.
Yeah. And then, that was such a wild race. Man, now I'm thinking back to it. And then I forgot also about George Russell got out of his car to go help.
Yes.
What a guy. Love George Russell always, by the way.
You are George Russell.
Oh, wow. Thank
If
you.
you were a driver, you'd be George Russell.
That's really
I think so.
amazing. Thank
Go
you.
back and watch some earlier seasons before you say always, though. He was a little piece of shit sometimes.
Okay.
They're all
every-
they're
every-
all pieces
they're
of shit
all
when
pieces
they're
of
like
shit.
18 to
Everyone
20 years
is.
old.
Everyone is. As am I.
Right.
This is, so we're still.
So I'm still George Russell.
everything
Thank
still
you.
tracks. Yep. Mhm.
Anyways, great guy. Doesn't even think about the race and what it means for his race when he gets out of the car. He goes to check on Zhou Guanyu. I didn't even know until Drive to Survive that he actually made it all the way to the car
and was like,
helped get him out. Like
mhm.
he pushed the car back and
I know.
was helpful,
Right?
like actually very helpful. And then the FIA literally wouldn't let him get back in the car and drive again because there's a silly rule that if you get out, you can't drive again, I guess. But it was
It's
unclear and it was unfair, and he should
really
have been able to
unfair.
get back in the car and start from the back of the grid on the restart. Like, I don't see why not, because the car was drivable, but they wouldn't let him do it. But they didn't talk about that part in Drive to Survive.
No. Well, they didn't talk about.
They also didn't talk about his win.
Brazil. They didn't talk about Brazil
Like,
at all.
they brushed past it. It
it's
was
like,
so-
where? What?
I don't think Netflix goes to Brazil. This is my theory.
Okay.
Because was it 2021? That was
Yeah.
the turning point race for Lewis, where he
Yeah.
started qualifying at 20th.
And
You know,
made
That-
it
oh,
all
man.
the way. Yeah.
That
They
race was
didn't
insane.
show it at all in Drive to Survive.
Messed up. That I forgot about that. I couldn't remember if they showed it, but that was the most incredible race I've ever seen.
yeah.
Yes.
He had,
Yes.
because he started from the back of the grid twice. Because he
Yes,
started from the
yeah.
back because there was a sprint race.
Mm-hmm.
So he started from the back after qualifying, and then he made a bunch up, and then he had to go back again because of another penalty, and then won the race.
Yeah.
It's insane. He made up like 25 positions or something like that in one race. That was in 2021, though.
Yeah.
Ugh. So glad
Well,
George won
Netflix
that race this year,
needs
though.
to go to Brazil.
They do.
That's
So-
what we're saying.
And so, yeah,
Because
this,
that's where Mercedes does well.
yes.
So.
And like, but they have the footage from these races. They showed footage from it. Like,
uh-huh.
F1 has all this footage. They can get it. They can use it. They just weren't interviewing people that weekend, which is annoying. I do think they only go to like maybe 10 races.
Yeah, I mean,
tops.
you probably can't go to them all. It's a lot.
Yeah, if they wanted to spend more money on it, they could.
Netflix,
They're making money on it, so
stop skimping on
Right?
Drive to Survive.
give us better interviews.
We need the Drive to Survive seasons like 4 times as long.
Except
is.
not. Let's never mind.
Scratch that.
You know what?
You know
Keep
what?
doing that how you do it.
I thought about it and I retract that.
Decided against it.
Yeah,
I
again,
don't.
to give them credit.
Yeah.
They're taking a ton of stuff.
They are.
And trying to make these tight, streamlined, dramatic stories.
They are.
And they
And-
brush
Yes.
over so
They
much.
brush.
They
They
do.
have to. You
And
can't get everything.
I'll also say they're not creating all of this drama. The drama's there. The drama has been created.
I think
Like when
there's-
we're following the season, every article is just as dramatized.
Yes.
Anything you read about F1 in this sport has a very hard angle, and they're really trying to pull out the drama always, especially Will Buxton.
Okay, so another takeaway I had. I'm on mic a lot this episode. I don't Sorry
Yeah,
about
you got.
that.
No,
Yeah.
we're in.
Sounded
We're in.
horrible. Sorry,
It's
everyone.
making up for the previous episode.
Another takeaway I had was I feel like Formula One is so much more dramatic than Drive to Survive now.
Interesting.
I agree.
As a sport itself, they have built-in things to make drama,
Mhm.
like the rule about
Uh-huh.
the number one that
Yes.
Max got.
Max got number
Like,
one.
there's a built-in rule that only the person who won last season has the option to put number one on their car.
Yeah.
That's just purely a drama thing.
Yeah.
True. It's true. I was wondering that. I was like, Max didn't used to be number one, right? But
No. Yeah.
I didn't think about it. What was his number?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Huh, interesting.
Oh, and Max was back this season.
Oh, yeah, Max was back this season. Good for him. He was really calm the whole time.
Yeah. Honestly.
I mean, he had a really calm season.
honestly, I don't.
Did he though?
Well,
Drive to
okay.
Survive.
They skipped over
No.
some things.
Over some
They
And they
skipped-
shafted Checo.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. I.
Talk about it.
Well, they can't. I got a
We
lot.
have feelings.
We have a lot of feelings. The Checo episode was, enraging.
It
to
was
me.
truly enraging. Literally, because I remember for a lot of the season, Checo was like on par points wise with Max.
Yeah.
He had a chance to overtake Max in the championship, and literally Red Bull would not let him.
And they made it seem like Checo tries his
Right?
hardest but can't catch up to Max,
Right?
and is like, oh, it's a mind fuck to be Max's
Right?
driving partner because you just can't see where he's getting these numbers. And it's like, is Checo thinking that way, or are you guys just
Right?
assholes to
Like
him?
you're just making it.
I think it's partially true.
Definitely, Max is an
Yeah.
incredible driver. Let's.
Yes.
Not-
I do always
mince
feel
words
the
on
need
that.
to say Max is one of the best drivers ever.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible
And we
driver.
hate him,
As
but
as much as we dislike him
yeah,
and
he's
wish
incredible.
that he hasn't won a championship, he's an incredible driver.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think there's also the element of the car being built for Max, and so I think there's some truth
Yeah.
to everybody struggling a little bit.
Yeah,
To see how he gets it, because it's literally
built
around
for him.
It's true, and he's been with the team for so long now. Like
Yeah.
he's developed that car over the years, and they have developed it for him exactly. And Checo's done a great job with that car, and he's winning races now, and he's fighting at the front, and he wants to not take those team orders, but he's a good person, so he doesn't take the team orders. Max doesn't, so he does take the team orders. Max doesn't take the team orders, even when it's better for the team, and he already clinched the championship.
Yeah,
And this is like
And they
there
didn't show
was-
that on Drive to
They
Survive.
didn't.
they
show
didn't
that.
show it.
And that was one of the most dramatic things. That's what I'm saying.
That-
like, Formula One is
Coffee.
more. Nice. Folly artist, corn coffee. But like, there's so much drama in Red Bull at the end of the season.
Yeah.
They didn't show it at all.
At
even mention
all.
it.
Well, no, because
I
it's
s-
all about
yeah.
Christian Horner. He
It is.
spins the whole narrative of the show. Like
Yeah.
they're always with Christian.
They love Christian on Drive to Survive. They just love him.
And
I
it's
don't
like-
know why.
I
He's always playing the victim too.
yeah, he's a big.
So
he loves to
annoying.
be the victim and act like everyone's out
Like,
to get him.
literally, you overspend by $400,000, and then you're playing the victim for getting a punishment for
Like he's like, everyone's
overspending for breaking
accusing
the
us,
rules.
and it's like you're not being accused. It is a confirmed
It's a
fact,
fact.
that
You
you breached
overspent.
the budget. Like
I don't care if it was
It's not an
intentional or not.
accusation.
You did that. It happened.
yeah, and
Like,
like
you
can
may not have meant to. I believe he probably didn't
Yeah, of
mean
cour-
to. You know,
but just say
just
we did
it happened though.
break
Like
the rules. We
and
did.
and you deserve a punishment for breaking the rules. That's correct. Yeah. Ugh, so annoying.
Do you want to talk about, like, what was it, the second to last race, where, like, just over the radio on live television, Max and Checo, like,
Yeah.
talking with the team, and
About that.
And
Checo saying, like,
Yeah.
this shows who he is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for real. Okay, so yeah, in the second to last race, where was that one? Was that Brazil?
No.
It might have been Brazil.
No, I thought it was.
I thought
in the
Brazil
middle.
was the second to last. me-
Hold, please.
we're gonna check on this. But
So Max got team orders to yield, and he essentially
Because Max has already won.
Max has already won,
and his
and
car
Checo
was struggling.
could get more points and get higher up in the standings.
Yeah, Checo was still fighting for P2 in the World Championship.
Yes, it was between him and Leclerc, and then
And because of this race, Checo got P3 in the World Championship.
because Max would not give up the spot, and he said on the radio, "You don't tell me to do that. I don't do that."
Yep. It was Brazil. Yeah. I was right.
That's why they weren't there. They didn't know.
Netflix
Literally,
didn't know.
yeah.
They didn't get
'Cause,
that information.
yeah, Max was struggling in Brazil. His car was having some issues, and Checo was like, "I can do better. I can you have to give him team orders to let me pass so I can fight for P2 in the championship." And they were like, "Okay." So they give the orders to Max, and Max is like, "Nope, we talked about this. I'm not going to do that."
And then after that, it was like
And then-
everyone was going
yeah.
after Max, but then
The team
what
was
was
like,
it? There
"Oops,
was, like-
sorry, Max. We're not going to do that."
there things were like Max's mom got involved and started accusing
yeah,
Checo
Checo.
of like cheating on his
Right?
wife, and
Just
it's like
What?
it's none of your business.
And like that's unrelated first and foremost.
that's-
And who
you
knows?
you got to control your people, Red Bull. Like, come on.
Yeah,
Like that's unacceptable.
it is. It is.
This
And
is where I'm saying, like, there was
Yeah.
so much drama in that team, clearly
That-
between Checo and Max, and they didn't show it.
they didn't
at all.
talk about it
Christian
at all.
used Drive to Survive to smooth all that over. He's like,
Yep.
"Oh, here's my press opportunity to
Yep.
get my team back and just brush over everything that happened and,
And then
control
play the
our
victim."
story for
Yep.
this." And that's why they didn't talk about that at all. And like the whole thing with like Checo's contract, it was like, "Oh yeah, we just
Yeah.
gave him a contract and he's part of the team." But you could tell in
Right?
Checo's interviews, the tension that he had when he was talking. He was like, "Red Bull's a different team.
Yeah.
It's really hard." Like he
It's
just like was like
different.
shaking. I
Yeah.
felt like I don't.
Piper had.
I do not think he's having a good time, you guys.
No, and he also barely talked this season. Like they didn't actually give him much on-camera time. They didn't actually take his interview segments very often. They gave little
No, well,
blurbs related
everything
to
about-
what they wanted to say.
Yeah, everything about Red Bull is
More coffee.
through the lens of Christian. So
Yes, it is. It is so annoying. And like, yeah, they did this whole thing about like, oh, he's struggling so hard in the first half of the season. It was 4 races, and then he won the 5th race. He won.
mhm.
And, like, that was car reliability issues more than
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
First 4
Literally.
races.
Because they were struggling in the first few races. Even Max's car. Max didn't finish 2 of the first 4
Yeah.
races. They didn't mention that. Like, come on. Just like, so
I know. I
aggravating.
think that's the most annoying thing about Drive to Survive to me is how much they are up Red Bull's ass.
Oh, I guess he won the 7th race, not the 5th race. My bad. But still.
Whatever.
He was on podiums before that. He got second place 1, 2, 3 races before that, and they didn't mention it.
Yeah, it's all.
Yeah. He got second place in 3 races, and then he didn't make the podium in 3 races, and then he won a race.
Mhm.
And that's they spun that in the weirdest way. He was literally fighting for the championship
Mhm.
and doing better than Max at a certain point until the team literally wouldn't let him. Ugh.
Yeah.
Justice for Checo.
Honestly, I'm kind of like I'm a little worried for him. I don't know what it's like to be on that team.
have
It
no
just
idea.
doesn't seem good. He
There-
doesn't.
There is the Monaco incident.
Yes.
Yeah, which
That-
they didn't necessarily get into on the show.
No.
I mean, they brushed over it.
I'm saying they could have done a more negative take on Checo for that.
They
Yes.
could have.
They could have.
Yeah.
They could have. And that is very true.
Yeah. They could
But
have.
I do think that part of that is a product of being part of a toxic team,
Yeah.
like an extremely toxic team. I don't know if I could. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're getting pressured to win races, you know? Like, so what are you going to do? I mean, that was. Yeah. An intentional crash is a huge accusation. And he's been on record saying that that was intentional. Is that what
I
you're
thought
saying?
I read something that he did say to Christian, and
Yeah, I didn't see that personally,
Because
but
there was something about that adding to the drama between them two, and Max giving that as a justification
for not giving up
for not giving up the position
in
as,
Brazil.
well, that was way later.
payback to
Yeah, because
Checo.
he was getting Checo back, essentially.
Sure, but there
Because
was
Checo ruined
whatever.
his
And
qualifying.
that's like, I wanted all that drama. That's what I
Right?
wanted
Yeah,
Drive to
yeah.
Survive to show me. you
But
know?
they're not going to do that because they love Red Bull. Drive to Survive loves Red. They have
Drive
from
to
the beginning.
Survive
Like when it
is
started,
Red
it was
Bull.
about Red Bull. Honestly, every season.
When they were a midfield team, yeah.
Yeah, every
Mhm.
season has been about Red Bull. Like that's the main focus of every single season of Drive to Survive. Christian Horner is the most interviewed person on that show,
Yes.
hands down. No questions about
always-
it. Yeah.
I always describe Drive to Survive, the rewatch of it, now that all of this is out, is it plays as like a rise of a villain storyline to me. Like you see Christian and they're struggling as Red Bull, and then he slowly gets better and more evil.
Mhm.
Nice.
It's interesting narratively.
That
But
is
I-
interesting.
Do you feel that they show him as a villain though? Because I feel like the spin is that they're trying to prop up Red Bull in a positive way as the hero. You know, as the
They're-
protagonists.
They're trying, but they
Yeah.
just are evil.
Well, they are. evil,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Facts are facts, but
true.
I feel like they're trying to. Drive to Survive has tried to frame Red Bull as the protagonist
Mm-hmm.
each
Definitely.
season, and it definitely felt that way this year, for sure.
It always upsets me that Christian is married to a Spice Girl. I don't think he deserves it.
He doesn't.
He doesn't deserve Ginger Spice. So annoying to me.
No, it's not fair.
If you want to be my lover, you got to get with my friends. And I just don't think.
You don't
Well,
think he's friends with all the Spice
I don't
Girls?
think. In particular, I don't think Mel B would like Christian Horner or likes Christian Horner.
Ooh.
But I have nothing to base that on.
Oh.
I only know. I
thought
only
you had
know
some insight.
from watching Mel B on The Circle that I was like, she seems really cool. I bet she doesn't like Christian Horner, and that's pretty much where I've got.
Shout out to Mel
all of my
B.
information.
Honestly, that cameo on The Circle was incredible. When the two Spice Girls showed up on the Circle, that was amazing.
it was pretty amazing.
That was hilarious.
Do either of you know much about the Spice Girls?
Not that much. What do you mean? Like,
Like
in what?
I feel like I've talked to people who know about the Spice Girls, which I know nothing. This is all secondhand information. And I have a friend, Joe,
Mm-hmm.
real, shout out Joe. And they were saying that something about how Ginger Spice is like drama and kind of the reason the Spice Girls aren't around anymore.
Oh, so there you go.
So,
maybe
maybe they deserve each
maybe
other.
they
then.
deserve each other. Yeah,
All right.
And maybe misremembered information. Sorry if I messed that up, Joe.
I love
but
that.
It sounded like, oh, they're kind of a match.
All right,
There
all
you
right.
go.
Then fine. You guys can be together.
They-
I'll allow it.
They can be the villains trying to run the world and
The ginger villains.
the ginger villains. Yeah.
And if that's not true, please leave comments correcting us and get us more views.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Tell us we're wrong.
Comment.
We love to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
We love to hear it. Okay, I wanna shout out to Drive to Survive for one big reason, and I'm very thankful for the show for this reason, and that is the send off they gave Daniel Ricciardo. I loved that. It's so heartbreaking to see him leaving the sport. Well, he's not leaving the sport.
Yeah, he'll still be a part of it.
Back at Red Bull as a reserve driver this year, and hopefully
It
he gets
was-
a seat again. Hopefully,
It
but
was really interesting because I saw somewhere that now, like, how McLaren has to change their whole marketing strategy because they lost Daniel, who was like a built-in marketing.
Wild. Yeah, because
like,
people love Daniel.
yeah. And
He's so
now they have
charismatic.
Oscar, who's just plain and boring, and they're like trying to like figure out ways to
That's
make the Lando and
Hilarious.
Piastri, I don't know, to like make it live up to what Daniel left
Brought to
behind.
the team, just marketing wise.
I know.
That's so funny because like he literally cost them P4 in the constructors championship. Like he was the reason they could not beat Alpine.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he was performing at Lando's level, they easily would have had P4.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, I think what was super interesting is this last week, as promo for Drive to Survive was coming out, they had Daniel Ricciardo doing press interviews,
Oh, really?
and none of them mentioned that he was not a driver anymore.
Really?
Just talking about F1, talking about Drive to Survive.
Wow.
But
I mean-
spoilers for the Drive to Survive season. So.
Oh, we should have said at the beginning this contains spoilers.
Oh yeah, I just mean
But-
interviews with.
Oh, sure.
Sure.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's interesting. I do think he could be a great pundit. I think he could be a great race announcer,
Commentator, yeah.
a commentator and whatnot. I want to see him back on the grid, though. I really do. I think he deserves to be on the grid more than I don't know, a couple of people at least that
Mhm.
are there. But it's tough. It's hard to find the right seat at the right time for the right amount of money.
Yeah, he just got kind of screwed over.
He got screwed
in the
over, and
shifting around of everything.
at the same time, like I do think McLaren made the right choice to cut him because again,
No, yeah.
he's costing them millions of dollars
Mm-hmm.
by losing them standing points. Like he's just not scoring them points like he should be. Granted,
They did have to pay him.
I was gonna say they're
Yeah.
paying him millions, but that driver salaries and things don't come out of the cost cap, so that won't affect their performance. Although the McLaren is not looking good this year. They're not meeting their goals. So I think Oscar
Drivers.
Piastri made the wrong choice by going to McLaren. I think McLaren made the right choice by getting rid of Ricciardo. I wish Haas would have picked him up. I wish Alpine would have taken him back. I wish
Yeah, Alpine would be the one.
so many things.
What do you think about? There was the moment in Drive to Survive where Gunther
Yeah.
says like
He would have loved
I
it.
need 10 million
Yeah.
minimum to pay Ricardo, and we can't do that.
And we
Yeah.
can't do that. So and that I understand. And I can respect Ricardo for not taking less than he
Than
deserves.
he's worth, yeah.
Than he's worth. I wish he would have done it still, but
I
like
know, just
because I'd love to see Ricardo on Haas. I think that'd be hilarious.
Ricardo and Gunther.
I know, right?
Oh my God.
I know.
Gold.
Yeah. And I wish Alpine would have taken him back because I think he was starting to look really good in the Renault. His
Yeah.
last season there, and I think he made the wrong choice to move to McLaren, obviously. But what happens, you know? People got to move around. I don't think they should have been that bitter about it, and I wish they would have taken him back.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Let's talk about the shift arounds because Alonso's moving to Aston Martin
Mm-hmm.
from Alpine, which also was a very interesting choice because Alpine clearly has a better car than Aston Martin.
Well,
Aston
Aston
is
Martin
looking
is
good.
Aston Martin's looking good.
No, I meant like when he made that decision.
Right.
Yeah,
Sure.
because we're talking about Drive to Survive still. Aston Martin was 2 points back in
Yeah.
the Constructors' Championship, and they weren't even fighting for fourth place. So I think he made a strange choice. I was feeling bad for Otmar Schaffnauer
man,
because
yeah.
he was like just the cutest little team principal at Alpine.
Sometimes I'm like, how do those personalities survive
Honestly.
in those positions?
Like he seems too soft, but
right.
yeah, hey,
And then
he did a good
they-
job though. He had a great
they-
season.
He like made it seem like, yeah, I seem like a really nice guy, but I can get. And he went and he talked to
Right.
Zach Brown about like suing Piastri,
And then
then
doesn't
like
sue
10 minutes later,
Piastri.
he's like, you know what? We don't need
We
to.
don't
It
gotta
all
do
worked
that."
out when I look back at it. We're like, okay.
It's real. It's funny. I think he's hilarious. I like him.
I do.
And he's like, but like we have a better car.
Uh,
He
he's
was
just,
just
like,
so
so much-
dumbfounded.
yeah,
he's like, why would you not want to be in a better car? Why would Oscar Piastri go to McLaren when we have a better car?
I he just couldn't.
Which they
couldn't
do.
Wrap his head around it.
I'm very happy for Pierre Gasly though.
Me too.
I think he deserves that seat. I think maybe even more than Daniel.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think
I'm
they made a
excited
good
for,
choice.
I'm
by
excited
picking
for
him.
Pierre. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for Pierre, and I'm excited for him to get back towards the front of the grid and be more confident there because he wasn't confident in the Red Bull. He was having too
Mhm.
much doubt, and like back a few years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
yeah, so that's exciting for him. Curious to see how him and Ocon do together though as a team
Yeah. For sure.
because they don't like each other
Yeah.
historically.
Yes.
They went to a basketball game together last month.
We
so
did.
Hey, good
see
for them.
that.
There's
So,
that.
Good for them.
so actually, they're best friends.
So they're
Confirmed.
clearly cool again. I just don't think Esteban Ocon can necessarily get along with a teammate. You know,
They
I
didn't
don't
really
I-
talk about it much. In
They didn't, and I think they
Drive to
could have
Survive.
talked about it more
Yeah.
because Alonso and Ocon were kind of a contentious team. Like they were
I mean,
kind of
that's a-
contentious teammates.
It's also funny to me that Otmar had those two drivers.
right, right, like the most fiery drivers.
Like, the
Silly.
scene where they're singing "Happy Birthday" to Fernando Alonso.
that was
I was like,
so
cut it,
painful.
cut it,
So
stop
awkward.
it. This is not good
Man.
content. I
No.
am uncomfortable.
It was bad.
But the send off of the Yuki Pierre partnership,
I
that whole
know.
episode. so
R.I.P.
sad
Puki.
to me.
I think Yuki Tsunoda is too good for this sport. Like as a human,
You
not
do?
not as a driver, as a human. I think he is too. I think he enjoys people and experiences too much. You
Int-
know, like he loves Pierre.
He loved
And he-
his love for Pierre
Yeah.
was so
It's unmatched. Their friendship
apparent.
is so beautiful and pure that I would never expect that to come out of this sport. Is my point, and I think
Sure.
that's because of Yuki.
Sure.
I don't think the sport deserves him. It's
Sure.
too brutal, and he's too kind for. But
You think he's kind?
I do. I
He's
do.
Kind of a little shit.
Well, he is, but at the same time, like he's never gonna fight with Pierre. He was never gonna be a better driver than Pierre because they're two good friends.
Yeah.
He was never gonna try and fight him to be better.
Yeah.
I think I'm curious to see what happens this season with Nick DeVries on the team.
They gave Nick DeVries kind of a villain edit of
They
like coming
Kinda
into
did.
coming in. I was like, ooh, this guy's not
Yeah.
even started on this team yet.
Yeah.
You guys are doing him dirty.
They also really hyped him up as if he's way so much clearly better
Listen,
than Yuki.
Will Buxton is the biggest Nick DeVries fan out there.
Oh, there you go.
I think
Yeah.
that is the narrative.
There you go.
Buxton drives
Yeah.
the narrative.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So but yeah, it felt like everyone was saying, especially Will Buxton, Nick DeVries is a far superior driver to Yuki Tsunoda.
Mhm.
That's what it felt like. And I have a problem with that because he's only driven one race ever. And so you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know
You
how he's
don't
gonna
know.
be in the car. You don't know
Yeah.
any of it.
And you're just trying to build up this rivalry before it even starts. And
Yeah,
I
you made
yeah.
him look like a condescending asshole.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna.
And you made Yuki look like a baby.
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
It's a weird.
right? It was
weird
just the weirdest
choices.
edit. I'm like, he's been doing good. He's been getting better. Like, he clearly is putting in the work and he cares about improving himself and he keeps doing that. He's been consistent. And I think he's going to be able to hold his own next season. I don't know the edit they gave him. It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't appreciate it. That's why I think he's too good for it. Because I think everyone's downplaying him and he puts on this goofy persona, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I
I
don't
see
know.
that.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah,
that.
I think he leans into the goofy and leans out of the drama
Yeah.
Yes.
when it comes to interviews, at least.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, he
Well, same
does
as
what's on his
Daniel
mind.
Ricardo,
Middle
I
of
guess.
races,
Yeah.
yelling,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
so
Right.
has
He-
the right to
He could be
come out
kinder.
chill.
Yeah.
He could be kinder to his
Race
engineers
engineers.
and yeah. Like, stop talking to me. Shut up. Just like- it's a lot. That's the best part of the radio rewinds on F1 TV. It was great. Who else is moving around? We've got
We've got the two blondes on Haas.
oh
Nico and-
yeah, Nico Hulkenberg is back. I'm glad to see him back on the grid.
They're so blonde.
Just remembered, was it episode 1 of Drive to Survive? Yep, Gunther saying, "I'm never working with Russians again,"
Yeah. Yes.
which was
That was hilarious.
understandable in
Yeah.
the timing, but kind of racist.
Yeah,
right?
yes. I mean,
Done with Russians.
Yeah. Done with certain Russians, done with that Russian family would make sense. Done with oligarchs could make sense. Never working with Russians again. All right, Gunter. I love Gunter though, so
I know that little like comedians in cars getting coffee segment of
with him and Mattia, hilarious. I'm sad to see Mattia go. He's such a
Well, he's another one where I'm like his
Yeah.
personality just doesn't feel like
right. He's just too calm. He doesn't. I don't think he he doesn't have that cutthroat decision making that he needs for, well, apparently the right strategic decisions. I don't know. He
right.
just can't make the right strategic decisions. He made the same mistakes in so many races.
I know that was painful to rewatch.
It really was. I really thought Ferrari was going to have a better season when we went into it. I was hoping for a Charles Leclerc championship, and he just didn't have a shot by the end. And not his fault.
No.
He was one of the best drivers on the grid this year. Like, he could have done it if they had the reliability in that car and in the strategic decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. And, okay, they also didn't talk about Alfa Romeo. Again, like, Fred Vassar is moving up from Alfa Romeo to Ferrari. And I wish they would have talked about Alfa Romeo because their season played a big role in him moving up. So, I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to recap the whole season, though. It is.
I feel like when we were first getting into Formula One, there was really this vibe of like Formula One fans did not like Drive to Survive from the beginning,
Oh,
Mhm.
sure.
and I think we're
We're-
starting to feel that.
we're getting
now.
there,
We're
yeah.
understanding we're more
We're
Formula One fans
becoming-
now.
Yeah.
Fan.
Because
Real
it really
fans.
is different. Like, Drive to Survive is not a great retelling of what happened in Formula One. I mean, it's decent. It's a good way to get into the sport.
Yes. It's
Still.
a good gateway, but it's very
Yeah.
much a drama.
Yes. And yeah, I definitely understand why teams and drivers and F1 fans, long-term F1 fans, didn't like it. And I loved at the beginning, also in the
Toto?
beginning, Toto, yeah. He's like, documentary? No. This is not a
Not
documentary.
documentary.
This is a drama.
This
It's
is more
so
Top
true.
Gun than it is documentary.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, man. And then Lewis
Cut.
being like, man, they offer me, if they do another Top Gun, I'm taking that.
Because wasn't it a thing that they
Yeah,
offered? It
They
to him this
offered
year?
him like a small part. Yeah.
Apparently, yeah. I
And he
forgot
had to
about
turn
that.
it down.
Yeah. It's like, no, I'll have somebody else fill the car. I'm going to be in Top Gun next time.
Cruise. It was interesting how much they had him in that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and
at
they didn't
Silverstone?
explain it at all.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
he's just friends with Toto and Lewis. Like, they're
They're
friends.
working on something, right?
No.
I don't know.
Well,
We don't know.
not that I know of. I do know that
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt and Lewis are working on a Formula One movie. And I remember when Brad Pitt was it Silverstone? I can't remember. Whatever race Brad Pitt was at, there was a lot of controversy because he had it in his contract, in his rider, that reporters cannot approach him. He's on a schedule. He's doing certain press events. He's
Brad
here to talk.
Pitt?
Brad Pitt. And so whoever it was, I can't remember who it was, but he's a longtime announcer at F1 TV.
Mm-hmm.
And so this dude is doing the grid walk or whatever, the pre-show, and Brad Pitt walks by and he's like, "Oh, that's Brad Pitt." So he tries to go up to Brad Pitt, even though he's not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brad Pitt ignores him because he doesn't have it in his schedule. So everyone in F1 gets fucking pissed at Brad Pitt. Like, all the fans are so mad at him, and they're like, how dare you not show respect to this announcer and this interviewer? How dare you walk on this track and just brush him off as if you've never seen this guy before? I don't even remember his name, and I feel bad about that because clearly we should be recognizing this person if we're fans of F1. I didn't, though. But this is my point. Like,
Yeah.
This person knew not to approach him. So he
Mhm.
made himself look bad. Like, don't. I don't know.
I can never decide how I feel about celebrities on the grid.
Right?
Because I think on some level, if you're on the grid, you should be able to be
Totally.
approached
I
by
mean,
anybody on the grid.
Theoretically, yeah. But if you're in press and if you're in the media, you know that there's every single race, there's a list of people you can talk to and a list of people you cannot talk to. And you respect that.
Yeah.
And he didn't this time. And everyone was mad at Brad Pitt because he didn't respect the list. You know? I'm like, okay. Like, sure, Brad Pitt could have been nicer about it. But, like, he's here on a schedule. Like, he's not prepared for this interview.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for that, you know? I don't know. He's here to work on a movie with Lewis. I don't know why he's doing this movie, though. You know? I'm not sure
Who knows?
Americans should be doing it.
Everyone wants a piece.
Americans love F1 now.
Yeah, we do.
It's true.
But we started that.
Yeah. For sure.
Totally.
Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know. Any other moves that we're interested in? I'm curious about this new American driver,
Sergeant.
Logan Sargent.
Sergeant.
Sargent.
It's a very American name.
Yeah, I kept wanting to say Sargent.
Because I assumed.
Because I
I
assumed
always
he's
assume
French.
there's like European.
Yeah,
and-
but he's not. He's American, so it's Sargent. Sounds weird. Yeah, and this brings up actually last season when that Indy driver did a couple of races. He was commentating on a couple of races. I can't remember his name. And it threw
Oh.
us off, like,
Yeah,
because we
'cause
were
he had an
hearing an
American-
American accent. And we're like, this is
Yeah,
so
so weird.
bizarre.
It was
He
so
did
weird.
like main announcing on F1
Yeah.
for the American races.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for the American
Well,
races.
I think the last 3 of the season, he actually went to
He did go to Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi as well. He went to
Uh-huh.
or last 4
And I
races.
liked him.
He was actually a really good commentator. He brought a nice perspective.
It was just
As a
weird.
driver, he was like, this is exactly what they're doing here, what they need to do. And you could look at that and say, oh, this makes more sense now.
Mhm.
I can understand the complexity of this corner because of the way that he laid it out.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I like him. I hope they bring him back some more, even though it's weird to hear an American accent.
Very weird.
Yeah. Anyways, what else?
I don't.
Should we talk about next season? Preseason testing a little bit? We talked about it
I
a
mean,
little
we talked
bit.
about
but
it a little bit. I don't really have much more to.
Yeah. Day
Say.
2, Zhou Guan Yu passes car on
Fastest
track.
lap.
Fastest car on track.
Not
Very
that
cool.
lap times matter.
No.
in
Doesn't matter, but it's
testing,
cool.
But it's cool. Yeah.
We'll do anything to talk about Zhou Guan Yu.
Honestly, we love
since
Zhou Guan Yu.
Like
Netflix.
Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Shafted. Yeah. No, preseason testing's hard to take. Well,
It's hard
to take
anything
takeaways.
away
Yeah.
from it.
It's hard to take anything away from it, but it's good to see. Well, for me, it's good to see Mercedes doing better than last year at this time.
At least
'Cause-
they've got the porpoising under control. They're saying
Yeah.
there's still some like balance issues with the car.
There are, but it's looking like they fixed that for the 3rd day of testing, and
Mhm.
it was working a lot better. Yeah, they had balance issues. The rear wasn't getting grip like they used to,
Yeah.
but they're quicker in a straight line than they have been in a while. And yeah, I don't know. I like seeing the car in black.
I love the car.
It's gorgeous.
Especially early when they were doing the walkthrough in Drive to Survive of like the new cars, like the first episode. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
Mercedes
It looked
was
weird.
weird, and
It looked weird.
it was really different from everybody else's
Yeah.
car.
All the other cars were kind of similar. They were like, we're going to take a different approach. We're not using side pods.
But this year it's actually more extreme.
Oh, it's totally different.
Literally like every car looks like the Red Bull except
Yeah.
Mercedes and Ferrari.
Yeah, it's
We'll
wild.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, because and Red Bull didn't change much. Their car looks almost exactly the same as
Mhm.
the year prior. And then everyone else was like, Red Bull killed it, so our car is going to look like Red Bull's. And then Mercedes is like, well, no, ours is going to look completely different from last year's car, but also completely different from Red Bull's.
Mhm.
I love it. I'm excited about it. I just want to see the car move. I want to.
I know.
I'm ready for the first race. Yeah.
Just like every driver's Instagram posts now.
Right. Literally.
Bring on the races.
Testing was good.
Bring on the
Bring
races.
on the race.
Ready for racing.
Ready for racing. And dramatic photos, blurry photos of them on
Just-
track. And then a selfie.
I know.
Like-
Sometimes I'm like, is it just one PR person working with all of you for your Instagram
Right?
posts.
Like-
They're, the exact same.
Like they have one person, like the FIA has a person that does mandatory posts for every single driver on the grid. I wouldn't be that surprised.
Yeah.
Any other excitements?
Josiah's cracking himself up with that joke.
I've had too
All
much
right.
coffee now.
I don't think
Getting
so. I
jittery.
think we'll be back for Bahrain,
And that's that.
and that's that.
And that's our take on the takes of Formula One. Such a weird ending. Do we play the intro as an outro?
Last time you sang it out.
We did?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You just started singing at the end.
Oh, shoot.
That's okay. Doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, I like to have some kind of ending.
I could throw some sounds or something.
Something would be
Just do
fun.
some
but-
sounds.